All right, guys, back again for round two. We're doing a 2 in 1 day. So I'm coming back again. This is Christ and Comic Books, hitting you guys with Death Note, Volume 5, Part 2. I apologize because it seems as though it took me 1 month to finish this book. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take 4 more weeks to do Part 2. I'm going to get through with Part 6. I'll be ready to record come Sunday, if not next Wednesday, so that we can go ahead and keep popping off with this series. It shouldn't be taking me this long. I also want to give you guys a heads up that I'm going to be starting from scratch with Marvel versus Dragon Ball Z. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share on my Twitter. I want to get some feedback. I'm doing it on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I want to hear from you guys about the top 10. Who are some of the top 10 people you would see coming from the DBZ universe to come face off against Marvel? I want to hear from you guys, so be prepared for that. If you want, you can go ahead and be leaving your feedback in the comment section, as well as if you would drop a like there. I appreciate that, as well as hit subscribe. So thank you guys very much. Now getting into this video, we're of course finishing up with Death Note Volume 5. And when we left off, we saw, of course, where L was showing a disinterest in continuing with the mission, being that everything is so confusing. Light is demonstrating this level of innocence and obliviousness to everything that has been happening. He no longer has the Death Note. Misa no longer has the Death Note. L is confused. A business group now has a Death Note because the female Shinigami has shared the Death Note with that business, of course, to do a cover-up for Misa, and using them to continue to kill people as Kira so that they are no longer being suspected. But it is a round table of people in the business known as Yotsuba who are killing off other business leaders, making them seem as though they're criminal businesses so that their business can become more and more richer, more and more flourishing. I likened that, and I want to double back to that here later, but I likened that to them being a round table of a council, for instance, determining the sacrifice that they would be making to their deity, because again, in a sense, they're placating and satisfying Kira, which is the god in this instance, by making these sacrifices. So the thing about the round table is also they don't know which of the 8 of them is the one that actually has the book. So that's something that is still kept secret all throughout the rest of Volume 5. So don't be expecting to hear that in this video. The next thing, though, that we see, though, is we're getting into where Light's father is going to resign from the NPA. The thing about him resigning is he's no longer going to be a cop, but that's due to them being threatened by Kira to resign, being that they are already aware that Kira must be working through a company to get financial means to be able to make the threats to them. So now they're resigning from the hunt for Kira. They're not allowed to participate in any cases, and searching for Kira, and even more so, working with L is forbidden. So Kira has presented this, again, this isn't by the real Kira Light, this is from this alternate Kira working through Yotsuba. So, of course, the police force has separated themselves. And now, Father Yagami is having to go back to them and bring this news to them. Of course, with him resigning, he's continuing with L. He's presenting this to the other officers that are there to see if they're willing to either resign or continue. But they're being presented with this option of, are we going to continue to try to do what's right, or are we going to do what we need to do to protect our families? That's a tough situation to be in and of itself. What would you do? Would you choose to continue to hunt for someone that's doing evil in this world? Or would you choose to protect your family, which is the most good that you can do, which is doing what's best for them by being around, by being alive, by not sacrificing, that financial portion of your life that keeps your household together? What decision would you make in that instance? I would like to think that my family would be okay with me going to stop evil. But at the same time, they'd probably be like, hey, no, don't sacrifice the money unless you got a plan, baby. Like, that's probably what my wife would say. I'm not going to lie to you guys. She wouldn't want to be the only one working on that front and me going and doing that. We will probably butt heads on that. I'm not going to lie. But going forward in that, the spiritual side to that is this is putting us in that situation of determining if you're truly going to follow L into this. Now, the spiritual side, again, is this of the call of a disciple is to, give up everything that you have, everything that you hold dear in this world to truly follow Christ. Now, does that mean that you lose your wife and lose your kids and lose your money and go without and just completely suffer? Not necessarily so, because you're suffering for Christ's name's sake, which in the midst of that, he has always been found to make a way to provide for his people in instances like this. That, of course, builds the faith of the individual, but again, does provide for the family. So they're really playing on that disciple-like relationship between Elle and the other police officers that are choosing to stay or go. So that's truly important. One of them is faced with, of course, that instance of choosing to stay or go, which Elle kind of expresses, not caring or not even knowing what the outcome of that was going to be. And one of them decided that he was, finally just going to stay. But because they turn out revealing that, hey, Elle's going to financially provide for them anyway, the dude was upset that Elle played with him so much that he decided to just go ahead and leave. But Elle has already been providing that provision without them actually knowing that they were being covered. So that's the crazy thing about that. Like I said, he has a way of providing provision without you even knowing. And that's one of the things that makes Elle a very Christ-like figure when it comes to reading Death Note. Now, getting out of the resignation portion of this story, we get back into the investigating. So the youngest member of the team, or the second youngest member of the team, who was a part of the police force, is now the manager for Misa. And the thing about it is he's not feeling as though he's contributing greatly to the team as much. He's making little instances of contribution here and there, but he's not doing anything big, and that's frustrating him. He wants to be that one that does something valuable, that does something that makes a huge difference. I want to again tie that back to things with the disciples, because there were several instances where the disciples would question Jesus about, who's the greatest among us? Who's the one that has the most faith in you? Who's going to sit at the right hand of you when we go to the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus had to tell them, none of you. Don't think yourself valuable because of what you're capable of. Don't place that value on you based off of that. Because regardless of how Elle sees him, he is still a valued member of the team, being that he is willing to be a part, pay attention, learn, and contribute the best way he knows how, which is, of course, operating in his current position, which is as the manager for Misa. So he keeps that eye on her. That's very important. So what this leads into is this young man decides that I'm going to, while I'm taking Misa out to do a movie, to act for one of her movies, I'm going to sneak off to go and actually act in. So he decides that he's going to go and infiltrate Yotsuba while she's doing her acting. So he sneaks into their building, goes in through the back way. The security is not as tight as you would think for such a big business as they are. I actually don't even know what they do. It seems like they're a bank, but it's not like they're a bank, so I'm not exactly sure. But he sneaks in, and he gets close enough to where they're in their meeting room, and he's at the door, and he's hearing a little bit of what's taking place. So he gets hints to, they meet every Friday. They need to plan on who they're going to kill next. And they mention Kira while they're in this meeting. So he's done heard all this. So now he has the verbal confirmation that he needs to know that they're on the right track, so he can bring that news back to them back at base to let them know that we're on the right track. Keep going towards Yotsuba. This is the right people. Of course, they're already identifying all the keys and cues to identify that as Yotsuba, because they're already pointing out that, this person died by this, Yotsuba gets more money. This person is, incriminated for money embezzlement, and then he commits suicide because he doesn't want to go to prison, brings Yotsuba more money. So they already are figuring all this out from all the deaths that's taking place by rich people. So, which isn't Kira's normal pathway. Kira normal actually just kills criminals who have committed murder or rape or anything of that high level. So he's kind of shifting in his kill count, his kill target, but he is killing other people, which of course for Elle is just like, well, it's Kira, but it's not Kira, right? And it seems as though the power can be shared. So he's keeping this in mind as he's trying to devise, how we're going to capture him, who's the real Kira, etc. But anyway, young guy goes in. Give me this book. I'm sick of calling him young guy. What's this boy's name? What's his name? Who is this guy? His name is Matduda. That was his name. Matduda. I can't believe I forgot that. His name was Matduda. Anyway, Matduda, ends up getting caught because they end up coming out the door while he's behind the door while they're doing their counsel, and immediately plays off as if he is coming to make a promotion for Misa to put her in a commercial for Yotsuba so that she can get more, as we call it today, get more clout. So they put it in that perspective for the movie. I mean, for this moment to be able to hide. That's his way of keeping from them suspecting him of being a spy. He's already hit his belt, which was provided by L to send out that signal to let him know he's in danger. So of course now they got to figure out, okay, what is he doing? Where is he at? They identify he's at Yotsuba, and they're like, oh my gosh, this idiot! What the heck is he doing at Yotsuba? He's gonna give our position away. So he's playing off like he's trying to get Misa in for a commercial. So he's playing that off. He's doing a great job of convincing them that that's what he's there for. They continue to talk through, though, you know, is this real? We're going to have to kill this guy. How are we going to kill him and get away with it? If we kill him in Yotsuba, Yotsuba's finished. If we kill him outside of Yotsuba and he dies too fast, they can still link to Yotsuba. So it's bringing all of this drama to Yotsuba's door, and they have no idea what they're going to do. So they bring him into a room. Matsuda's still playing it up like he's trying to sell her, and L calls. He talks to L. L identifies that he's actually in danger. He's been caught. So they set up a plan with Light calling Misa. Misa comes to the office. Misa plays her part as if she's, yes, I want to be in commercial with you guys. Get me out there, you know, really promote my name, right? So she does that. She throws a party back at her place where, of course, where their base is, but their base is made to look like a hotel. So she was able to play it off. So she brings in some girls, brings in some drinks, and they're trying to plan how can we get Matsuda out of this situation. Because one, they're going to track him, even though he gave them a fake name. Two, they're going to be trying to come back to this hotel to find him. They're going to do something to figure out who he is. So what they ended up doing was they had him fake as he was drunk and fake his death so that he could get away. So he gets out of the situation. They've got in technically closer to Yotsuba. So this has allowed them to identify Yotsuba and brought them in closer to Yotsuba, but it was extremely risky. One of the parts that actually made me really laugh was that while they were trying to get him out and in the midst of faking the death, they were trying to remove the body, and they had to have L amongst those that were trying to remove the body. And L was like, stupid Matsuda. He's like, I know we're short-handed, but he's stupid. So it was really, really funny just reading that part. I'm sorry. It's like one of those moments that makes manga so great is those stupid little moments. So I really enjoyed that. But they get away, and they have what they need to be able to identify Yotsuba. Now, they go about this in two ways. One of the last things to point out is L identifies that there are three people that are the biggest detectives in the world. L and two others. Now, the two others are actually just L, but they're cover-ups, so L doesn't get... Again, this is just cover-up, so no one can identify who he is. Now, I like how they did that, because that's almost playing on the three parts of the one body, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So with them kind of bringing that in there was very tricky and very well done. The last thing to identify is L Block brought in some convicted felons that he has good relationships with that he can use to be able to infiltrate Yotsuba. One is playing as one of his other identities with them to fake as if he's going to help them figure out L's identity. And then the other is able to break into any security system so that they can implant cameras. And we're coming up to the point where we might actually be able to not only bring down Yotsuba, but identify who else has the book. But the bigger question is, how is this going to lead back to Light getting the book? Two, how is this going to bring about to where he's going to actually kill L? How are we going to get to that point? What's going to be the turnout? Now, I've already read it before, but I don't know what to expect. So you guys are just going to have to tune in next time as we see what we can find out in Volume 6 of Death Note. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a blessed evening. Good night.